Hey guys, and welcome to another build order video for Age of Empires 2 ranked gameplay. So in this video I'm going to be showcasing a build order that I've made for the map migration. This is going to be a 1 versus 1 specific build, and the build order is for the Japanese, but you could execute it with a couple of other civilizations as well. Italians would be another civilization that it would work with, but you'd have to modify it slightly because Italians have a cheaper age up, and a couple of other civilizations that it could work for. The Mayans could be one, and there might be a couple of other ones that it might be suitable for too. But basically, you need something that's got a smooth early game on migration, because on migration you only get 6 sheep and you get 1 deer patch and berries. There's no boars, and the rest of the food you kind of have to get from fishing. And if you don't get the build order right, you can run into a situation where it can be tricky to get up to Castle Age at a good time if you like muck up. If you go up a little bit late in feudal age, you don't sort of plan it out properly. There are other good civilizations that have a standard sort of play as well, like Malay. The next tier would probably be like Malay and Bengalis and civilizations like that, where you have to pay the full price. You don't really get any discounts on any of the buildings or anything, but you have to make the build order work for them. All right, so this is a ranked game that I've just played, and I'm playing against an Arabia only Ethiopians player here. So he tried to do like an archer rush, which didn't go well, but I just wanted to post the build order because I executed the build order perfectly first go. So this is like my first migration 1v1. I've played it quite a bit in team games, but team games the build orders are quite different because on flank you'll be doing like fast galleys, and then in the pocket you'll be going for more boom and a transition to the middle island. So what the strategy is I'm going to go for a fast castle, and the reason why I'm choosing to go for a fast castle is because in 1 versus 1 migration, the rush distance is actually quite long. Like here, this rush distance isn't that long here. If a dock was built probably on this side of the guy's island and he came around this way, but the thing is, you have to scout that. So if I go to Red's point of view and turn the fog of war on, how's he going to know where my island is? Could be anywhere over here. So he's actually got to find it. So it's very risky to go for a galley strategy. And then the other thing is, because there's a fair amount of distance, if you go up to feudal quickly, your opponent's going to know that you're going for a galley rush, and they can just switch it up. So if they were going for an FC, they can just add defensive ships once they see your feudal time. Excuse me. And the reason why I think Japanese is probably the best civilization for this is because of the fishing ship extra hit points. So if we go to the tech tree, fishing ships double hit points and +2 pierce armor. So that means they're really tanky, and if for whatever reason you have enemy ships on you before you can sort of respond, it gives you a bit of extra time because they're not going to kill many of your fish. And with that sort of defensive setup, we're going to go probably into about 10 fishing ships, and then with 10 fishing ships, and I think I'd end up doing 24 villages with Loom +2. The reason I get Loom, you could skip it, but you're going to want to get it anyway because you're going to want to transport to the middle island before 20 minutes, probably in the 18th sort of minute is a good time, I think, to do it. So anyway, after all that sort of introduction, I'm going to get into the build order. So I'm going to go to my vlog, turn on the fog of war, and start the video. Okay, so to begin with, you've got to make 2 houses with your 2 villages. Then you've got to get your scout onto the first visible sheep, send the sheep under the TC immediately, and then you've got to try and find your next patch of 4 sheep and then get to pushing in deer straight away. So here I'm using my second sheep to scout, and I'm sending my scout around to try and find that extra patch of sheep. So I found it with my sheep at the top. I'm going to send my scout over to get those under my control. You could push in 1 deer before doing that here, but I think I'm going to have enough food on the main sheep under the TC to not have any idle time or like idle villager time. So I've got the sheep under my control, and now my next priority is to get a one of these ostrich under the TC as quickly as possible. I'm using the follow command on the scout just to sort of line it up nice and easily, and then I pull 2 villagers and shoot the ostrich, and then I end up being just in time. So now I've got a bit of time, and I'm going to scout the island with the rest of my 4 sheep. Migration is one of the maps where the developers have increased the map size by 1 semi-recently in one of the most recent patches, like maybe 4 or 5 patches ago or something like that. They increased the size, so it's a little bit bigger than it used to be, and that's probably another reason why I don't think galley rushes are quite as strong as doing an FC. So now building a lumber camp. I'm going to be sending 4 to 5 on wood, and then I'm going to be making a house with, I think, villager number 10 or 11 for 20 population space. And this is a map where you really want to keep on top of your population space. If you can avoid getting housed, that's really good. So I know, because I'm going to be making a lot of fishing ships and I'm going to be going up with 24 villages, I want to try and have 35 population space, maybe even 40 by the time I'm sort of ready to click up to Castle Age. So I played this build just in single player a few times, and I sort of know that when I need to make houses, sort of staying about 10 population ahead. So I pushed in my 3rd ostrich, and now I'm going to push in the 4th one. Once I do that, I can put the scout on auto scout to scout the rest of the island. So the villager building the house is going to probably go out and build a dock next. I'm going to command one of those villagers to go build a dock, because I've got enough wood for a dock at the moment. And there we go. I'm going to grab one. I'm going to build a dock there. And then I'm going to have 5 on wood, 1 villager on a dock. Now 6 on wood, 6 under the TC on the ostrich. And now I can send my scout to auto scout. So I'm just going to use those sheep to fill in a bit of the black space on the fog of war. And I need to get the sheep under the TC. Going up to 7 villages on wood, and because Japanese get a discount on their lumber camps, I could actually make a 2nd lumber camp earlier than any other civ, because it's very expensive to add a 2nd lumber camp early with where you got to pay the full 100 wood. As soon as the dock goes up, with this amount of villages on wood, I know that I'm going to have enough wood to queue up a fishing ship immediately, so I've done that. And then I'm going to build another house, and just as the first fishing ship finishes, I should have around about 75 wood to queue up another one. Select the dock and queue up another fishing ship. So I'm going to queue a few villagers onto stragglers here, and then those villagers on stragglers are going to go over and build a 2nd lumber camp. So I've got, I think, 8 villagers on the 1st lumber camp, which is a little bit like, I think this house was a mistake. I should have built it 1 tile away, because I've blocked a couple of villagers from dropping off wood efficiently there. Not a very big mistake, but yeah, should have placed it one tile further back, because that villager working is blocking the passage to the lumber camp. But once they chop out a couple of trees, it should be fine. Alright, so now I've queued up, I keep queuing up constant fishing ships, so I've got my 3rd one coming out, and now I've got enough wood to place the 2nd lumber camp. And if I was being really optimal, I could have moved some villagers from the 1st wood line over to the 2nd wood line, and now I'm queuing up fishing ship number 4. So I think I've added an extra villager on the TC food there, and I think you can probably go up to 8 villagers. Again, I've sort of seen that I've got 30 housing pop space. I'm going to add that extra house because I've got the wood for it, because I know that I need 35 to 40 for this build to get up to castle. And then I've got 2 sheep left. I'm going to have that 4th fishing ship coming out, and I need to do a little bit of extra scouting. Luckily, my dock position is quite good, and I've got 2 close deep fish, which is very handy for this build, because if you make a dock where there isn't close deep fish, it sort of slows you down a little bit, and it could delay your uptime by an extra villager, which can be significant. So I'm adding a mill here again. Japanese mills are only 50 wood, so it's very cheap to add in that mill. I'm going to queue up a couple of villagers onto the berries shortly, to probably take a couple from the sheep. Getting up that 2nd dock. I'm taking a bit of a risk building it so close to the other one. I probably would want to spread these out a little bit more. So there we go, another villager queuing up Loom after 24 population, and I've got enough food to click castle. So I'm going to send 4 villagers onto gold. I've just sent everything to berries, and then I'm going to micro the villagers a little bit later, building that extra house for 40 population space. Got a couple of villagers on stragglers. I think it's probably good to go, I think it's 4 on gold. Once you click up to feudal will get you up to castle age, I'm pretty sure, in this build, so that's completely fine. And my villagers on berries are all on the same side of the berries there, which isn't that optimal. Going up to 45 population space on housing here. Adding in a couple of extra fishing ships. I'm just going to take the view lock off for a second. So I think 10 fishing ships is a good amount with this build. So currently I've got 7, and I'm making an 8th one. You can add there's the 9th one coming in. I think I end up going 9 here. I might add an extra one. So what do we got? 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm just going to see how much wood that I've got. Because I need 325 wood to get up to Castle Age. So here I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to wait a little bit, just see how much wood I end up coming up with when I get to feudal. I should have enough wood to queue up the 10th fishing ship, just making sure that I do. So 4 on gold, definitely going to have enough food. Luckily there is a deep fish right next to my second dock, which is really nice. It's just luck of the draw with the deep fish placement. So here I can see that I've got about 400 wood, and I'm adding an extra fishing ship. So I'm adding in the blacksmith, just a little bit short of wood for the market. I'm going to add an extra villager to make sure I get that up on time. Queuing up the extra 2 villagers. I've got 200 gold already, 700 food. Food count's going up really nicely. 800 food, so there we go. That's exactly the amount of resources that I need. Going to get an extra house. Now here, one thing I could have done here is I think I've made an extra house and an extra lumber camp too early, which means I've got a bit of a wood deficit. And here you want to queue up double bit axe as soon as possible, and you want to start queuing up fire ships. Now, if your enemy had beat you to feudal age with this build, that means they're doing a galley rush. So what you would do is you would delay your castle age time a little bit. You would probably add some extra villages to gold, and you would start making some defensive fires. You probably don't need too many defensive fires because the galleys are going to take a lot of shots to kill the fishing ships. You just need the fire galleys defensively just to push the galleys back, so to keep your fishing ships working longer, and then you'll be able to click up to Castle Age not too long after making a few defensive galleys. A really, really solid galley rush with a short rush distance, you might be in a little bit of trouble, but I think that's a low possibility. So here I'm making my first fire ship, and I sort of realised, yeah, my wood count's a bit low. I know that when I arrive to Castle Age, I want to have 100 gold to make the fire ship, the war galley upgrade. And here I'm going to build an extra dock on the other side. So that's another thing. Like, you probably want to have 3 docks up by the time you reach Castle Age. Have multiple dock fire ship production going, and have around about 7 villages on gold. And then you sort of want to get Bowsaw and probably the gold mining upgrade semi-early on in Castle Age. And then so here I've seen my opponents coming in with a transport ship, so I'm probably just gonna stop this video sort of shortly after this, because I'm playing against an Arabia player who probably doesn't have a build order for this map, so he figures, he's just gonna try and do what he normally does on this map anyway. So when you're going up to Castle Age, you need to pay attention sort of to the feudal age time of your opponent to see, you'll be able to tell from their uptime what they're doing, unless they've got no idea how to play the map. If their uptime's sort of similar to you, they might be doing a very similar strategy. So it's probably good to send some fire ships. So if I take the Fog of War off, out sort of this way, and then you could even see where they're at. Like, you can contest them on both sides. But I guess if you're not sort of seeing any pressure from your opponent around about this point in time or before, you want to prioritize getting across to the middle with a transport ship, because that's probably what your opponent is doing. So here I've got quite a surplus of food, which I don't really need. I need 230 for the war galley upgrade and 100 gold. So my resource balance for my first go is a little bit off. So I think I probably could have pulled the villagers off berries and put them onto wood or gold or something like that, and then maybe queued some villagers from the TC to berries a bit later. That might be something I'll experiment doing here. But yeah, again, I probably got one house too many. I don't know if I needed this lumber camp because there's no villagers on it at the moment, but I guess I've pulled some off because I saw the transport ship. Other than that, I think I've done a pretty good job with the build, and I'm going to play a few more games on it and see how it feels. But hopefully this is helpful for someone who's looking to play some migration games in the current pool. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you look forward to the next video.